So, dear Dhamma practitioners, be comfortable yourself and relax your body. So keep your back straight, neck head straight in one line, and your right palm on your left. So gently close your eyes and bring your attention to this bell sound. And while you're focusing to the sound, mentally relax your body, relax your mind, and relax your breathing with your thoughts. Do nothing extra. Just follow the sound, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Exalted One, the fully enlightened One. So, dear Dhamma practitioners, in these ongoing meditation sessions, we mainly try to give you some informations, guidelines to practice yourself and build up a very clear, good, solid foundation for your spiritual practice. So then, when you practice yourself, you have to be very clear within yourself. And again you have to see what is the technique that you practice. And at the same time, you have to look and to be very careful not to mix with your mental ideas, your own formations. The reason is ourselves, just by ourselves with our past experience, it is not enough for us to get into the clear path. If it is possible, then we no need to practice because we already should be there. But we have seen through our own life, we are not still capable to recognize the reality as it is even within ourselves. And sometimes even recognizing our own inhalation, exhalation. To see it without any kind of mental ideas, formations, or any kind of volition is not easy, but it is possible. So then you have to remember, in the practice, so you have to give your best. So in the beginning, before you start meditation, remember, at least before 2 hours, you have to prepare your mind to your practice. Maybe sometimes suddenly you can do yourself, but every day when you want to practice and when you want to get the good result, just mentally be prepared for that. And then keep 2 hours and don't try to go to heavy meal, or don't try to sleep, or don't try to get into any kind of hard, busy work. Not every day, maybe you cannot do every day like that, but sometimes you have to remember yourself. When you are mentally prepared for that, naturally these things can happen. Even you work, even you eat, even you do some work, then you know before your meditation, you make it a little bit slow down. And once you get mentally prepared and physically prepared, and the other thing is, remember, if you do it in the evening and just get a little clean up yourself. And if it is possible, have a shower. And wash your feet, wash your face, wash your hands. So it's give a refresh your mind and give a kind of like a physical environment and settle down to the posture. And sometimes people say it is very difficult to get into posture. And one reason is because suddenly you try to sit and do it like that. Just imagine you're going to drive a vehicle. And then you go, and the very first thing, before you even start the vehicle, before you get into the road, one of the most important thing, you have to adjust your seat. And you have to make it comfortable to yourself. And you have to adjust the mirrors before you get into the road. Once you start to drive, you cannot do it. So like that, before you get into the technique, before you get into the practice, just give a little time to your posture. Physically, mentally prepare. And once you sit, if it is possible, you can select a same place. So this is once you start to practice, it is become more important for you. So keep the place for your meditation practice. And that place, keep it a little bit nice and clean. And then once you sit, so determine yourself and have the effort and bring some effort, physical, mental effort to your posture. Don't find easy ways. And some people say, oh, for meditation, forget about the posture, no need posture. And some people even say to attain to enlightenment, no need meditation. Some people say to attain to enlightenment, no need even the Dharma. Some people say attain to enlightenment, no need the Buddha. So it is up to them. So if anybody can attain like that way, that is good for that person. You know, we wish them the best. But for yourself, you have to say, if you want to get into that, if you couldn't get into the way that you want, then you have to find the way, what the Buddha taught. And then slowly start to get into the practice. Even the statue that you can see behind, it's just a mental image. And this is the best posture for the meditation. It's called the Samadhi posture, tranquility posture. So at least try to follow that mental image and try to get into that posture and see what is happening, what you can experience yourself. So the posture is, so in the beginning, mentally you prepare, and then the physically you prepare, and then the posture. Once you come to the posture, so you sit for meditation, and then one of the important thing, get out of the mental image that you carry regarding yourself. And the position that even at home, maybe you are the husband or the wife or the child or the friend or partner, so kind of like that. This is my house, so I do this, that. So once you sit for meditation, get out of that all. And you kind of like becoming a nobody. Rather than hold it to identity and becoming a somebody, just yourself. become a nobody. You have no name. You have no identity. You have no posture with the position. So just you have the mind to be aware about your primary mental object. That is it. Another thing is that whatever you have done and whatever you're going to do in the future, don't bring it to this meditation moment. Keep it there. It is very important and necessary for your life. But when you come to the meditation, just keep it there. Like your vehicle is important, your cycle, your bicycle, your motorbike. It's very important for you. It help you to go here and there. But you don't bring it to your bedroom. You don't bring it to inside your house. You put it in the garage or maybe driveway. Maybe you park it on the street. You keep it somewhere. But when you use it, you use it. So like then, whatever your plans, keep it there. When you sit for meditation, just come to the primary mental object and be with it. So that is make kind of like a mental discipline yourself. Those are things you have to knowingly understand by effort, consciously you have to do every day. Because if you don't do these kind of things and if you don't practice these kind of things, what happening, then your thoughts start to interfere with the practice. And then once you come to settle down, and then you keep the posture, and time to time you have to look into it. Why? Because physically we have habits. These physical habits deeply and hold us, and it is so strong. So the way we sit, the way we walk, it has a natural behavior to settle down itself. So maybe you think, if you go with the comfort and maybe you think you're practicing meditation and your posture is good, but slowly sometimes the posture start to find its own comfort zone and it go out of the alignment. So that's why time to time you have to look. Your back, neck, head straight in one line. And how is your head? Maybe if your head is too high, your chin too high, too low, you cannot get the sensation. Because our very purpose is recognizing the sensation in front of our nose and upper lip area. That's why we follow this all. To get into the right primary mental object. Because once you get into that, your practice going to become more easy. And then time to time you have to see, if you can't find the sensation, what you need to do, bring your upper body back and forth and find the right place. And maybe the head move up and down and find the place. So you have to adjust yourself. Once it there, maybe you just hold the head like this, 10 years, 20 years, maybe you keep practice, you cannot find the sensation mentally. Always your busyness inside. But only thing what you have to do, half an inch, if you bring your chin down, you get the sensation. But why 10 years, 20 years, you cannot do it? Because mentally we caught up with the ideas. We don't want to observe, analyze, and recognize even our own posture. We don't want to look into us. And because of that, we miss the point. So that's why time to time you have to look yourself. And once you get into the posture and find the sensation, stay there. So inhalation, exhalation is a bodily action. Just allow it to happen, and when it happens, just recognize. And don't try to put your effort, and don't try to imagine about it. Don't try to think about it. Don't try to do any inhalation or exhalation. Don't interfere with it. This is a very natural behavior. Always we have a habit to interfere with things. Mentally interfering, physically interfering, verbally interfering. So cut down that all. Shut down that all. And learn to see. Seeing just the sensation and just settle down with it. And then it will help you to little by little, once the mind completely settle down with the sensation, it will take you to the tranquility state. The very nature of the tranquility state, your mind, your body, your breathing start to work as one. And then your inner awareness becomes sharper, clear, stronger to see things as it is. What are the things that you start to see? Your own experience with the sensation, with the perception. But you start to see things as it is without mixing with any kind of volition or mental formations or the ideas, thoughts. So that is the very nature of the tranquility state. Once you come to that, then we go to the Vipassana level. So the Vipassana means thoroughly, deeply observe, and another way it called Panya Bhavana, or another way it called analytical meditation. So that's mean in ordinary life, in tranquility state, we mostly take one perception at one time, and then when the another perception replace, we just go with it. We have no clear mind to see what happened to the previous one and what happening to the present moment. So analytical meditation means you analyze even in the moment that whatever happening within yourself. And at the same time, you see the change. But tranquility state, you don't see the change. In tranquility state, you just go with the flow. But in the Vipassana meditation, you don't go with the flow. You allow to the flow happens, and you recognize the very nature of the flow. See, two different ways. Tranquility meditation, you go with the flow. The analytical meditation or the Vipassana meditation is you recognize the nature of the flow. What is the meaning of flow? What is the behavior of the flow? What is the character? So for that, you cannot interfere with even the flow or even the change happening. You have to be aware yourself not to get into the change. Why? Because once you get into the change, you go with the change. Then you cannot recognize it. So you recognize the change and how things happening moment by moment, and at the same time, the recognizer, the observer, also change. So why it is happened? This is the reason. This is what the Buddha found out through the Vipassana. The observer is a result of byproduct of the perception. Otherwise, the observer or the self or you is not beyond your perception. You are the result of your perception. So then when the perception change, observer come out of the perception, then how the observer can be permanent. So the perception, when it comes to your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, all the objects coming from outside, it's change. We all know that. There is nothing solid outside, and this all change moment by moment. So then it's come to you as a perception, and it is a result of the change. That's why you experience it. If the outside object not change, if the outside object is solid, you cannot experience it. It itself changed. As a result of that, it becomes a perception to you. So then your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind itself as an organ, itself it's change. If your eye is solid, you cannot see. It's change moment by moment. The pressure, the blood, the energy, always. And if your ear is solid, you cannot experience the sound. So the ear always change. The nose, tongue, the body, the mind, the same. So then the perception and your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and this all change. So then how you can get something if that all change, if the outside object change, and even your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind change, and out of that, there is no way you can get the unchangeable experience. So then always your consciousness is a result of your perception. So then your consciousness also moment by moment change. Recognizing this all, the change, it's a moment by moment arising, existing and disappearing. Recognizing this is the Vipassana. And recognizing deeply, analyzing is the method of Vipassana. So then you see the change without interfering with anything. And at the same time, remember that as an experiencer, observer, as a subject, what you experience, that also change. It is not separate from outside, and it is not an object of outside. But this all interfere each other, help each other, integrate each other, and then out of that all, we come to the moment of experience. So that is what we're trying to, little by little, that is where I keep going. So then only thing is, you don't need to think about this all. Only thing you have to see that whatever available in the moment with the sensation, just recognize that. Once you qualified with that one single step to see the sensation happening in that very moment, you qualified to the next level to experience. So then yourself just start with that single step. So with that, we're going to practice a little bit. So your right palm on your left, keep your back straight, neck get straight in one line. So bring your attention to your body and scan head to toes yourself 3 times and say Suapat Deva, or may I be well and happy. So bring your attention to the lower part of your body and see, is there any sensation, feeling you can recognize? Tightness, heaviness. Just get a mental note. Don't change anything, don't comment, don't try to adjust yourself. Just recognize. So bring attention to your lower back area. And your upper back and shoulders. So bring attention to in front of your nose and your upper lip area. Deeply and gently breathe in, breathe out 3 times and find the sensation, please. So allow your inhalations, exhalations happen itself. Through the sensation, recognize inhalation as inhalations, exhalations as exhalations. Do nothing extra. And follow the entire continuation of the inhalation, exhalation. Knowingly, this is the beginning, this is the middle, this is the end of the inhalations or exhalations. Some inhalation, exhalations may become longer, shorter, heavy, soft, warm, cold. Just recognize it. See how calming down your body inhalations happen, calming down your body exhalations happens. No one doing it, it is just a bodily action. Calming down your mind, inhalations happen. Calming down your mind, exhalations happens. Your body, your mind, your breathing integrate and help each other. So don't interfere with that. Just observe. Just drop all the methods, patterns, techniques, ideas, thoughts. Just simply observe the change and experience it. Don't try to verbalize your experience. Just see the change happening moment by moment. Your feelings or the sensation, thoughts arising, existing, disappearing moment by moment. So bring your attention to your body, please. Observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through entire your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe. Also, as far as you can, through galaxies, other planets, stars. Reminding yourself like this. With clear intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe. And may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away. already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart forward. Visualize yourself and send it as a light. To your backside, to your left side, and to your right side. Downward, and upward. To all 6 directions at once. Like the moon, the sun, spread the light, spread the energy without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion. From the bottom of it with the maximum effort to the highest. Wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So dear Dhamma practitioners, all this human history from Homo sapiens to today, million years people try to understand the very nature of the world. And at the same time, people like to know everything. Even when it comes to the word everything, and sometimes we equalize that word to universe. But as you know, the universe came out of combined different parts. And then there is no limit with the universe. So then if you equalize the everything to the universe, then everybody knows nowadays the universe means it's nothing. There is nothing called something universe that permanently exists. It's the gas, the flow of energy. And scientifically, you can bring some kind of names. So then, there is nothing that you can gain as a solid, permanent, formally exist universe. So then, that everything equal to nothing. So then what you experience as everything, what you mean by everything is very limited to your own experience. For a child, everything is different. For a teenager, what is everything is different. For an elder, everything means it's different. And even person to person ourselves. That what we know as everything, and maybe the scientists know as everything, and maybe the doctors know as everything, politicians know as everything is different. Why that difference come? Because according to our personal experience. So then according to the Buddha's teaching, everything equal to your mind, not the universe. So then the mind means what? The mind means how the mind comes. So the mind means the result of your perception. What you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you feel, what you think, and or what you hold or what you memorize, what you repeat in your mind is your mind. So that is your everything. And then why there is no limit for the everything? When it comes to everything, that there is no limit. Because eons by eons, what you experience through your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, there is no limit. And through the samsara to the future, eons by eons, what you experience, there is no limit. Then what you name as everything for today, going to change by tomorrow. And what you are everything for tomorrow, going to change by next year. What you know as everything in this world, going to be changed according to your next life. So then, rather than projecting and looking and searching and waiting for the outside perception, if you start to look into your inner experience, or if you start to look into your mind, the behavior of the mind and the nature of the mind, it will start to show you a path to recognize everything. So once you know yourself, will take you to know about others and about the past and about the future. And that will take you to know everything. So nothing wrong looking at the stars, looking at the universe. It's nothing wrong. Look at the Mars and the listening to the voice of the sound of the Mars or the landscape of the Mars. Nothing wrong. It's good. Even far away through Hubble's telescope, scientists try to look into even many, many billion light years away through this universe. Nothing wrong with that. Even you can enjoy it with. That when you tune to the NASA live stream, you can enjoy it yourself. There's nothing wrong with that things. And the Buddha's teachings never go against it. But the thing is that this is the problem. This is the question that you have to ask yourself. And this is the wisdom that you have to gain. What is that? Nothing wrong, look at the sky. Nothing wrong, look at the stars. Nothing wrong, enjoy the outside world. If you can keep the balance with your foot. Just imagine. You look at the sky and enjoy the stars, but if you slip your foot, what will happen to you? What will happen to the beauty that you keep observing? It's nothing wrong, you enjoy the outside world, but if you fell down on your own bathroom, that's a problem. You know, if you slip your foot, if you go out of the balance yourself, what will happen to the beauty, the enjoyment you gain out of the world? So then always remember, teach your children, teach your friends, and even try to practice yourself. Nothing wrong with the outside world if you can keep the balance in you. If you can keep the awareness in you, if you can keep the recognition in you, you are qualified to enjoy the outside world, explore the outside universe. But if you cannot do that, before you look into the far away these stars or the outside world, get into yourself, find your own balance, find your own peace, and keep the balance with your foot first. And then start from there. Because all this fear, unsatisfaction, anxiety, depression, this all come out of our inner behavior. So when it comes to the fear, a long time ago, don't know how this started. This is a part of the world. The fear is a kind of like an inherent nature. It's same like the hunger that you have. That when it comes to the animal world, there are four things: ahara, nidra, bhaya, maitunancha. So these four qualities you will see everywhere. The hunger, depending from food, and the rest, sleeping. All the animal world, you will see even him. And the fear. And the other one is reproducing. So those are very natural to all the living beings. So when it comes to fear, why it happened? The thing is this: what you afraid, and maybe someone else not. So as example, snakes, mice, rat, cockroach, mosquito, little bug. Maybe you're afraid. But how someone else adapt this kind of living beings, these wild animals like pets? Why if you are afraid, why you cannot do that? Then you have to question yourself, from where this came to you. Maybe you're not going to find a solution, but you have to see that maybe you're afraid for the snakes, and even just saying, hearing the name, sometimes people are afraid for that, have the fear. So one time that the very famous motivational speaker, Les Brown, talked the fear. False imagination appearing in real is what called fear. So our imagination itself brings us the fear. But at the same time, there is something happen. When you hold it to some spiritual practice, you can handle that fear. It's a very psychological, method that the human used to use that from ancient time to today. Just as example, you're afraid the snake. But when it become a kind of part of the spiritual figure, and then you worship it. Sometimes if the snake in a holy place, you appreciate it. And in the Eastern countries, many gods have the snakes. And the people put the tattoo. People worship. And the mice, rats, monkeys, lions, tigers, you see all the animals. And it's kind of like a part of the kind of like a different spiritual groups. And so when you go to that spiritual practice, you worship it. See that what happened to your fear. But when you are alone yourself, and then you're afraid, even just to hear the word, you're afraid. See that in day-to-day life then, so whatever that you have the fear regarding anything, remember, if you start to develop some kind of spiritual practice with that fear, what will happen? That fear going to go away. That's going to be okay. So then when there is a fear, that's mean sometimes you miss some kind of spiritual practice in that part. That's why maybe because when it is in the temple, when it is in the mandir, when it is next to the God, you worship, but when you're alone, you're afraid. So then in day-to-day life, how you can recover from this? So why you see that animal or whatever, even the weapon, all the gods carry the weapons, and in ancient times, the gods they are the one who invented the war. And today people talk about this, machine guns, and they don't like it. But when we look at the human history, bow and arrow, and the people worship, it's a part of the God. And then you don't think, but it gave the influence to today, this mass weapons. See that when it is next to the God, and if there is a rifle or the, and missiles held by the God, and then maybe you worship it. You don't go and fight with anybody to get out it from the society. See, when it become a part of the spiritual, people accept it. But it is outside. I just gave example. But when it comes to our inner, to work with your own fear, what you need to do. If anything you have afraid, if your children are afraid for something, yourself afraid for something, when there is a fear, maybe by thought, the dangerous mistake is we try to handle with our own thoughts. Maybe that is not enough. That is where the fear become more stronger. So then, from today, start to bring a spiritual backup. Keep something spiritual next to that fear. Then you will see what will happen. Little by little, when that your spiritual practice going to become stronger, the fears start to disappear. So it's kind of like you are afraid for the snake, but there is that, as you know, then in the seven weeks that during Buddha's time, after Buddha attained to the enlightenment and practice, and the muchalin, the snake, the king of the snake came and gave the shade to the Buddha, protect the Buddha. And then you keep worshipping, and then you see suddenly the huge snake, you say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So see that what happened to your fear? Because when the Buddha is next to that, you don't afraid for the snake. Why? Because the faith regarding the Buddha is stronger than the snake. Then it disappears. So bring the same technique to your inner life. So whatever you have the fear, start to bring little bit spiritual practice and keep it next to you. Then you will say, the fear going to disappear. There's no way the fear going to be there. So for that, in the beginning, you have to start with the loving kindness. Loving kindness regarding the all living beings, seen, unseen, born, unborn, all the living beings. Without any condition, without any limitation, at least 1 minute, 2 minutes every day, start to do that. Why? Because remember, the fear is in your mind. So then in the beginning, now you develop your mind. You have to purify your mind. You have to clean your mind. And you have to bring some spiritual qualities to your thoughts. So then you become a person, you have the love to entire all living beings. That doesn't mean you have to be vegetarian. Forget about that. It is a different part. Forget about that. Just eat whatever you want to eat. Enjoy your life. But at the same time, remember, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes every day before you sleep, when you wake up in the morning, first in the morning, last in the evening. Do this. When you going to drink something, when you go out, and sometimes you remind whatever spiritual practice you do. Maybe you're going to see the doctor, or maybe you're going to see somebody, you're going to go to an interview, and maybe you pray and you get blessings. Just have thought. May all living beings be well and happy. And everybody included to that. And even somebody, in front of you to kill you. May all living beings be well and happy. That person also included to that. Then you become a bodhisattva. Why? Because the greatest enemy in front of you, but you have the love. So you develop it. And then anymore, you're not afraid for even the death. So that is our heritage. That is the Buddha's path. So through the human rights, through the banning weapons or the shooters or the killers or kind of like that way, we cannot do that. We cannot go that way. But you cultivate your heart. You expand your capacity to the highest. So the first level is start to get into, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy. So then it is just a thought. Remember that. Maybe you close your eyes and just for a moment you say, may all living beings be well and happy. And then the very next moment, your husband or the wife or, come and say something, you get mad. Your children, your parents say something, you get mad. And maybe your neighbors do something, you get mad. But it's okay. Remember, keep doing that mental practice. This is just a thought. We can say to everybody, may all living beings be well and happy in our mind. But maybe by action, by hand, we cannot do that. So then for that, it is a different action. So that is what called the compassion. You transform your loving kindness to action. It is become compassion. Compassion is not a thought, remember, but the loving kindness is a thought. When the loving kindness becomes the action, that becomes the compassion. Compassion is the main, one of the major discovery of the Buddha. This is what the Buddha gave as a gift. That's why it's called the one part is the wisdom, another part is the compassion. The Buddha is the one who introduced this word to the world. What does that mean? Because what the loving kindness in your mind, you bring it to action. So how you can do it? There's no way, no one can teach, do this way, do that, How it happened? This is how it happened. When your mind cultivate with the loving kindness, as a result of that, your bodily, verbally, mentally action start to transform. So then what happened when the situation comes? The foundation is the loving kindness. Out of that foundation, what happening naturally? You start to see that person from a different angle. That situation from a different angle. As a result of that, your action going to come in that very moment and according to that environment to do the right things. That is where the compassion arises. So compassion is not a thought. Loving kindness is a thought. Compassion becomes action. And when the compassion become, when your loving kindness become more stronger, clear, and when the compassion become stronger, clear, and you're not going to hold anything sometimes. You become action, even sometimes giving up yourself. And it's kind of like the mother and the father have the love regarding children. That is the, in conventional life, that is the best example. There's nothing we can bring beyond that example. And the Buddha. So then yourself, always remember, just imagine like a mother, father, and they cannot, they cannot schedule their lifestyle according to newly born child. No, they don't know what time child going to cry, what time they need to feed, and what time the child, that want to clean. So like that, they don't know. But any situation in anywhere, if it happen, you ready to do that. You are 24/7 available in action, not by thought, in action. It is different. So like that, for all living beings, how it is possible, just imagine. For all living beings, 24/7, if you can be available in action, just try to catch it by mind. So what will happen to your self-centered idea? Anymore, there is no self-centered idea. When there is no self-centered idea, there is no fear. So like that, see that how spiritual transformation happen. So then remember yourself. So whatever the fear is there, because there is something lack, that deeply it is the wisdom. But before we go into that, in very conventional life, there is a way we develop the loving kindness. And one should develop the loving kindness. Out of that loving kindness, you develop the compassion. So the compassion means what? The thoughts become action. Once you fulfill these two things, your self-centered idea, egocentric mind disappear. Once it disappears, there is no way fear going to be there. That is where you become part of this Buddha nature. That is where you become a part of the Buddha's path. And that is where you're going to gain the light yourself to travel in this far away to this sansaric journey. Even it doesn't matter, you have to go through the black hole, dark matters. You don't afraid for that. It doesn't matter. You're going to go to the hell. It doesn't matter for you. Why? Because it is you have power to transform the hell to heaven. Why? Because your heart is bigger than the hell. That is where you have to practice. That whoever give hard time to you, bothering to you, make you afraid, fearful, the reason is you in your mind you are smaller than that. But once you become bigger than it, anymore it's not going to happen. So then from today, work on your fear knowingly, with the loving kindness and with the compassion. When you complete that necessary limit within your own practice and in your own heart, with your bodily, verbally, mentally action, you become free from fear. When the person becomes free from fear, when the human mind becomes free from fear, that is the very sign, that is the beginning of liberation, transformation, the ultimate bliss of Nibbana. So with that, I bless upon everyone with this good practice. May all of you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you. May no difficulties come to you. May no problems come to you. May you also have the patience, courage, understanding and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life. During this time period, may everyone stay healthy and safe. And finally, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sabbityu vajjantu sabbarogo vinassatu mate bhavatantarayo sukhi digayuko bhava etavata cha ammehi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe devanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhutanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe sattanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Idamme punya kammanga savakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.